So to make bread pudding, you're obviously going to need bread. I have here just plain old Italian bread. You can use challah bread, you can use brioche, you can use donuts. I don't really care what you use. The only thing you're going to have to be very cognizant of is that is your sugar level. I don't like my stuff like overly sweet, so that's why I get Italian bread. There's not a lot of sugar in this to begin with. I also have 2 cups of 2% milk. Again, if you want to use whole milk, go for it. If you want to use skim milk, go for it. If you want to use almond milk, go for it. I have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I have 1 stick of butter. I have 6 eggs, and I'm actually only going to use 1 whole egg, and I'm actually going to use 5 egg yolks in this recipe. I have 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to have 1 shot of the Skrewball whiskey, and I have 1 cup of sugar. So first things first, you're going to want to crack the whole egg in here, right? And the second thing is you're going to want to separate your egg yolks. The way to do that, crack your egg, and you're going to want to just go from shell to shell, very careful as to not break the yolk. And you're going to want to do that every single time. If you get a little bit of white in there, it's not the biggest deal in the world. We're not making creme brulee where you have to have only yolks. So if you get a little bit of white in there, it's not going to be the end of the world. So that's what you're going to want to do with that. And while that is going, while I'm doing that, I'm going to melt the butter over here and just kind of get it browned up a little bit just to kind of get a nice nutty flavor with our bread pudding. So now we're going to do the bread. As for the bread, there's people who like to just dice it up. I personally like a little bit more of a rustic look. And to me, it's just more fun to just kind of just rip pieces. You know what I mean? Just rip, make it look very rustic looking. There doesn't need to be any rhyme or reason to it. You know, it's kind of one of those desserts where you don't need to have everything really pretty. You know, this is something that you're using up leftovers. It's day-old bread, so you can just, you know, kind of tear it and just go for it. You know, you don't have to make it super pretty. And I think that's what I like about this dessert. I love the fact it's just delicious. I mean, it's just so good. And that's it. You're just going to keep, you know, get like, you know, bite-sized pieces, nothing too crazy. You know, if you get a little big piece, you know, kind of one about that size. You know, if you want to look at my palm for a little reference, and that's it. You're just going to keep, tearing it. You want to make sure it's all ripped and torn up into nice little even pieces. If you want to stale it out a little bit, you can throw it in the oven at like 225 degrees for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just to kind of stale it, just to kind of take out some of the moisture. That way it absorbs a little bit more of this custard that we're going to make. All right, so while the butter is browning, you can add the sugar to the eggs, and you can just whisk that together until it gets to be the ribbon stage, which is you want the eggs to be pale as you're whisking the egg. All right, so when the butter's at this like frothy stage, I'm gonna add the peanut butter whiskey to it. And just to kind of burn off the whiskey a little bit, and burn off some of that alcohol so it's not a huge alcohol flavor. All right, and then I'm gonna add the 2 cups of milk right in here. Then you can also add the cinnamon in here like I did here once you're at this ribbon stage. And they call it the ribbon stage because you can make a little ribbon in here with the yolk. Now you're just waiting for the milk to kind of come up to a boil, and then we're going to temper the eggs. So once the milk starts to kind of froth up and bubble up like that, you want to take it off immediately so it doesn't boil over. And then I'm going to take a rag and I'm going to put it right underneath the bowl, so it kind of stays in place while I whisk. So the most important part is to pour this in really slowly. If you pour it in too fast, you're going to get scrambled eggs. At this point, you can just be safe to kind of pour all the eggs in. Now you're going to want to take some of this crusty bread. You're going to want to pour it right in here. toss it together. You're gonna want to let this sit for about half an hour. So after about 30 minutes, your mixture is gonna look like this. It's all nice and absorbed. It's all, you know, there's not much liquid left. There's not much of the custard left, all right? So now we're just gonna portion it out into our muffin tins and we're gonna bake it off. So after you pull it out, it's gonna look like that. You're gonna wanna just spray your muffin tins. And I have the oven preheated at 350 degrees. You're just gonna wanna kind of portion it a little bit at a time and push it into the muffin tins as much as possible. All right, and then after that, you're just gonna put a little bit of water in here for the water bath aspect. That way the bottom doesn't get too burnt and too crispy. And you're just gonna put it in here for about 30 to 45 minutes. Check it after 30 minutes, and if you need to, you can put it in for another 15 minutes. All right, so now while the bread pudding is cooking, we're gonna make a little sauce real quick. I got a little pan here and my burner on high heat. I'm just gonna make a little bit of caramel. So 1 cup of sugar. Now you can just watch it. I like to do the little bit of water trick in here so it doesn't burn too much on me. So here's what the sugar should look like when there's just water and sugar in here. And now it's just a matter of waiting just for the sugar to melt and to get some delicious caramel. So here we're at what's called the soft ball stage. That means if I had a little bit of ice water and I picked up some of the sugar, it would form into a soft, hard ball. So at this point, you can start to see we're starting to get to the caramel stage. I'm gonna add just a little squirt of agave in there. It's gonna bubble up. And also I have 2 cups of heavy cream, and that's gonna kind of stabilize our caramel sauce. You wanna be very careful at this stage. You're just gonna wanna slowly whisk it in. It's gonna seem like it's all like one big piece. Just gotta give it a little bit of time. And then we're gonna put it right back on. We're gonna throw it down low so the caramel slowly melts. And then we're gonna add just another tablespoon of peanut butter just because we can. And I'm gonna put a metric this much in there. You can put as much as you want in there. I'm just gonna kind of put this in here and just slowly whisk it together. And it's gonna make this beautiful peanut butter sauce. So it actually boiled over. That's what I get for not really paying attention. But at this point, you can kind of see it's a little smooth. I'm gonna throw it back on and lower the temperature down just a little bit. And I'm gonna reduce that down. So after it kind of simmered down a little bit and got like this viscosity, I just poured it into a bowl just to kind of cool off a little bit, come down to room temperature, and then I'm gonna stick it in the fridge. This will hold forever because of all the sugar and all the oil from the peanut butter in it. And it'll just be a really good sauce to go with our bread pudding. All right, so these just came out of the oven about 10 minutes ago, so they're just cool enough to take out. So as far as plating up, you can put one down here, or you can, kind of break it up just a little bit. And just kind of put it right there, and you can just take some of this peanut butter sauce and just spoon it right on top. And there it is. Peanut butter bread pudding with a peanut butter sauce. Thanks for watching, guys.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This is peanut butter heaven.
I'm really a peanut butter guy, but I need this.
It's pretty good.
You know?
Woo!
It's good.
Oh, hey! Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to my channel.
I'm going. I got a topper, maybe.
Alright, so once it gets like this point, you're going to want to let it sit. And it's going to absorb. And this is pretty safe to eat at this point because we did temper those eggs. And those eggs are cooked. So good. It's going to be so hard not to just eat this whole bowl like this. I mean, that's really good. I'm not going to even lie to you. Are you recording right now? I put my foot in that.
Okay.
And peanut butter is amazing. And if you don't like peanut butter, you're a communist. Got it.
Now.
I'm kidding. You're not a communist, but if you don't like peanut butter, there's something inherently wrong with you. But if you're allergic, I feel really bad for you. I'm gonna put. Let me know when you start.
I already started, so you can do whatever.
Oh, hey! Thanks for watching.